Hey guys, and welcome to beautiful Basque Country in northern Spain. And in this video, we are test driving the brand new, beautiful Audi SQ6 E-Tron. So in this video, I'm gonna give you guys my full impressions of this brand new mid-size performance SUV from Audi. As I said in the intro, guys, we are here in beautiful Basque Country in northern Spain. We're actually right in between Bilbao and San Sebastian, on some really nice mountain roads here in the countryside. The asphalt here actually isn't the best because they're doing some construction. I think they're building a new road here, and that gives us a chance to test out the new air suspension on this SQ6 E-Tron. So in normal comfort mode, the engineers told us that this should be a little bit more sporty, a little bit more taut than the normal Q6 E-Tron, which I'm going to drive later today. I'm driving the SQ6 first, but I wanted to drive the Q6 E-Tron Quattro first. But we're doing this in a little bit of the wrong order, but I think that is fine either way. But I have to say that the comfort, even though this is on, I think it's on 21-inch wheels, is very impeccable. The suspension tuning is very refined. It dials out, you know, those small bumps and sharp bumps really nicely. But at the same time, I think it has very good body control, especially when you compare it to something like its bigger brother, the Q8 E-Tron. This feels much more buttoned down and a lot less floaty. Though it's quite a while since I've driven, you know, the S model of that, and I don't think I've driven the SQ8 E-Tron, but I drove the pre-facelifted version. I don't think it was as sporty as this. And also the steering feel in this is maybe the best I've felt in any modern Audi, even better than the e-tron GT, which feels a little bit numb compared to maybe the Porsche Taycan, but overall is a very good steering setup. This just feels nicer. It feels more natural. It weights up nicer. Usually Audis, I think Audis do have nice steering, but usually Audis steering are a little bit vague, a little bit soft off center. This feels sharp immediately. Very nice on center, and once you move the steering off center and you load up the wheels, it just has a very nice weighted feeling to it. So I'm really impressed of the driving dynamics of this car. And talking about driving dynamics, we're now in comfort mode. Let's put the car into dynamic. There we go, put the car into dynamic, and right away, even the off-center feel of the steering sharpens up. So this has dual electric motors, all-wheel drive, 517 horsepower, the 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 4.3 seconds, which is quite the performance. Top speed in this is also 230 kilometers an hour. We're not going to be able to test that because we're not in Germany, we are in Spain. But chucking this into the corners, really nice body control. I mean, I'm not going very fast here because I don't know the roads, and you know, I don't want to go super fast, but let's put this into regeneration mode so we get a little bit of regen braking. But it does feel very nice. So I got to drive the Polestar 3 and the Polestar 4 north of Madrid on some similar type of mountain road. So I have, you know, this type of road and this type of vehicle in recent memory, and this feels very close to that. I think, like, dynamically wise, this may be even a little bit more sporty. This is a smaller vehicle overall, but I'm really impressed of the setup here. So let's see if we can find some even more twisty roads and get, you know, past this traffic to try out the performance just a little bit more. So let's do an acceleration run here. This is downhill, but yeah, I mean, it builds speed quickly. 4.3 seconds from a 0 to 100 kilometers an hour is relatively quick. And also through this quick sweeper here, it just feels very tight, this steering. A lot tighter than any Audi I've felt in recent memory. You know what I'm going to say now? This drives a lot closer to the e-tron GT than it does to any other Audi. I wasn't expecting that because, you know, the Audi Q4 e-tron, well, is limited by its platform. And though it is an Audi, it drives very similar to, you know, its siblings on the MEB platform, the Volkswagen ID4, ID5, and also the Skoda Enyaq. This is actually very impressive and is very different to drive than the Q4 e-tron, and is a lot more sporty than the Q8 e-tron in my opinion, because it keeps that body control, but it's also very supple and refined. Yes, I mean, there's a caveat. We are here in Spain and the roads are usually really nice, but we drove it on some, patchy asphalt, which wasn't very nice on the pavement. So yeah, I want to try this through some city streets to see how it is comfort-wise, but dynamically-wise, this is actually impressive, a lot better than what I was expecting. The Audi SQ6 e-Tron carries Audi's newest design language, and this is built on the PPE platform, their first car on the premium platform electric, which underpins this, and also the brand new Porsche Macan electric. In the future, it's going to underpin the Audi A6 e-Tron. So this has, as I said, Audi's newest design language, a very upright front end, and also this split headlight design, where you have the actual headlights down here, and this is the DRLs with 8 different light signatures. This has the black package, so everything is blacked out here on the front end, and it's also in Daytona gray, a very classic Audi S color. The SQ6 has some very classical proportions. As you can see, compared to other Audis, the distance from the front wheel arch to the front doors, or rather the front A-pillar or the A-pillar to all the way to the front of the car, is very, very long, giving it very classical proportions. So this car, 4.77 meters long, and is also 165 meters tall and 1.94 meters wide. It slots right in between the Audi Q4 e-Tron and the Audi Q8 e-Tron. It has a very long wheelbase for being this length of car at 2.9 meters or 2,899 millimeters. So it has very classical proportions. You get this really upright greenhouse and these classical SUV design elements. I think it looks very, very good, though, because of that long, hood to cockpit ratio, much longer than in other Audis. The inside isn't as roomy as in other Audis, because the wheelbase, though long, the actual cockpit is shorter than, for example, in that Audi Q8 e-Tron, and not much longer than what we find in the Audi Q4 e-Tron. But overall, I think this is one of the best looking SUVs from Audi in a long time. It's an SUV inspired by the Audi e-Tron GT when it comes to the exterior. Because this has the black package, you can see that the wing mirrors are black. This type of cladding down here is also black, and also around the windows, the roof rails, and this also has dark windows from the B pillar and back. Daytona gray isn't my favorite color because for my liking, I think it is a little bit dark, but from this angle also, this is one of the best angles of the brand new Audi SQ6 e-Tron, especially the rear end. I really like the 3/4 design here. You got the SQ6 badging, again, black details, blacked out in the rear. You also have these really nice, hips and shoulders moving into this rear taillight design, which is very reminiscent of the Audi e-Tron GT. I mean, this is basically the rear light design of the Audi e-Tron GT put on an SUV. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because I think the Audi e-Tron GT is one of the best looking electric cars on the market. And this is one of the best looking SUVs you can currently buy. I think it looks really good from the front, from the side, and even from the rear. We've now put the car back into comfort mode, and we are on the motorway doing 120 kilometers an hour. But of course, we are in Spain and the asphalt is extremely smooth, especially compared to in Norway or in Scandinavia, where the asphalt is a lot coarser because of, well, the conditions the asphalt has to live through. So the asphalt is very smooth, but still on these very smooth roads, I can't remember many cars having less road noise than this. There's very little tire noise, and also wind noise is extremely well subdued. And also here, we're going to take the car through the city hopefully, but here the comfort is impeccable. This car, when in comfort mode, is very close to an Audi Q8 e-Tron with its smooth air suspension. But I think you have to get the air suspension on this car. I think it's standard for the SQ6, but in the other models I think it's an optional extra. but I think it is absolutely worth it because it just makes the ride super supple and super smooth and luxury car-esque. Inside the interior of this SQ6 E-Tron, it is similar to other Q6 E-Trons I've sat in and driven. The only difference is that this has this weave, this diamond pattern here on the S Sport seats, and this is also with the black interior. You have this Dinamica microfiber type of material on the dashboard with red stitching on the seats and on the doors, and also you have the Dinamica here on the center console. So overall, it does feel like a really nice quality interior, though as with the other Q6 and SQ6 E-Trons I've sat in, there are a few places in this cabin which have, well, cheap plastics, like around here, around where the door handles are. I don't understand why this plastic is so cheap, and also down low in the cabin. So this is an expensive car. I think price like this and spec like this, it is about the same price as an SQ8 E-Tron, though it's not going to have the same range, and you're not going to have, you know, this new fancy MMI panorama infotainment system. You're still going to have, you know, almost the same performance, and you're going to have a lot more room, and the car's going to feel a lot more luxurious. So if you can live with that, the interior isn't bad, but at this price point, I was just hoping that it would just feel a little bit more expensive. But for what it is, it's actually pretty nice and decent. Though the wheelbase is pretty long on this car, because that cabin is pushed longer back because of that long hood, there isn't as much legroom as you might be expecting. I'm going to say that this is a little bit better, if not equal to the Audi Q4 e-tron, but the Q8 and SQ8 is going to have a lot more room than this because those are bigger vehicles. I was just hoping that, you know, it's nice with that exterior design and this car having the proportions it has, but that has eaten into rear legroom. What I'm going to say is that the bench is really nice and wide, and though you don't have the best of the room, it's okay. You do have a lot of foot room. There's a lot of room to move your feet. This seat is in my driving position. I like to sit low. I'm 5'10" or 178 centimeters, maybe 5'11", 180 centimeters with shoes, and I have a lot of headroom, and shoulder room is also nice. And also the bench is far off the floor, so you don't feel like you're sitting on the floor. And also the rear windows are big, so even children are going to feel like this is a nice place to sit. So there we go, guys. That was my review of the brand new Audi SQ6 e-tron. I wasn't able to show you everything I wanted to in this video because we have very limited time at this international launch of this car, the international media drive. We only have half a day to drive all of these cars to do the impressions, and in between there we have to do lunch, we have to do get from here to there, so there's not that much time to make content as I was wishing for. But my big takeaway about this car is that it is a very impressive car to drive. I think it drives better than its bigger brother. It drives a lot better than its smaller brother, and also of all the Audi SUVs, I think it looks the best. So my recommendation is, if you can get a good deal on one of these, you're gonna get a very good electric SUV. So if I was out shopping for a car at this price point, this would be very high on my list. I really like the way this drives dynamically. One of the best SUVs, electric cars I've driven recently. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below, and for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys today, and goodbye.